Number one, most important thing in my life is not my wife, not my kids, and not my business. It's me as a spiritual unit. Work is a gift from God. I don't want to hustle, I want to prosper. How much can you get done with time? That is what a business is. My life is about punching, kind of like life did to me. I've learned to punch back. My dad died when I was 10, so when you don't have a father, I think it changes things. For 10 years, I used drugs almost every day. Nobody starts using drugs thinking I'm gonna be a drug addict. I just threw my addiction into work. You're gonna burn out, dude. At this pace, you're gonna burn out. I've heard this 1,000 times. I'm not burnt out. Poor people are extremely selfish people. You're thinking about yourself all the time. I want money. I want a lot of money. I want to give money away. You can't do that if you're broke. You know, I want to love my wife and I want to love the planet. I want to scale my love. Best investment you'll ever make is in yourself. You can't lose that investment.
They say that the human race is doomed, that we have lost touch with our true nature, that the media has corrupted us, and that the planet has no future. I disagree. I believe that humanity is full of hope, and that our salvation lies within each one of us. My name is Brian Rose, and my job is to listen, the oldest method of learning known to man. Each week I seek out individuals that are changing the world, people who are living and thinking in a different way. Their stories will challenge your beliefs, make you question your choices, and perhaps inspire you to change. I never planned on doing any of this, but now I can't stop. Join me on this mission and make humanity something we can all be proud of.
It's time for you to man up, to once and for all, tell your mind who the fuck is boss. I need a fucking answer. What's it gonna be? I don't know what it is about this fucking sport, but it attracts people that really need to do deep work on themselves.
I failed in this city. All these bad memories. I never really felt like I gave a fuck about me or my life. I almost killed myself, like...
Think about something that is going to drive you when it really hurts. Some kind of demon you want to fight.
This is not Pussy Man, this is Iron Man. Under pressure reveals true character. What are you gonna do? You gonna be in Chattanooga May 20th or what?
Let's face it, Grant Cardone is larger than life. You know him as the slick-talking American sales guy who drives around in his Bentley, flies in his corporate jet, and amasses as much real estate as possible. Sell or be sold, the 10X rule. This is the Grant you know and the one I thought I knew. But there's more to this man. There's a spiritual side. There's even a dark side. He was addicted to drugs for over 10 years, lost his dad when he was 10 years old and his brother even years later. And now he's here to make as much impact on the world in all aspects of his life. He wants you to 10X your life, your business. Go into your fears. Stop telling yourself the same old stories. You've got a bad relationship with money. You've got bad self-esteem. And again, you've got a wrong narrative. Grant was not what I expected, but I was extremely intrigued and impressed by everything he's doing. He was in London because he wants to meet more people. He wants to go around and touch the world. And I think we're going to see a lot more from Grant Cardone. And inside London Real Academy, I'm pushing you to go into your fear as well. Because on our Business Accelerator, I guarantee a revenue-generating business from you within 8 weeks. Start with your passion and turn it into a business just like I did with London Real. We are closing this thing out soon, and this is a little bit more about the London Real Academy.
London Real doesn't stop when the conversation ends. You see, that's when we get started. Because everything begins with a thought, and then comes the action. The London Real Academy is our global transformation platform. Here we bring together thousands of students from over 75 countries. Whether you want to build a profitable business from your passion, or learn to speak to inspire, or broadcast yourself with your very own podcast, or accelerate your life to become a high-performance person, we have the online accountability course and personal mentoring program that will make your dream a reality. Join us, and we'll take your life to the next level, together. Our next accelerator course is starting soon.
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Grant Cardone, the New York Times best-selling author, sales training expert, and motivational speaker on leadership, real estate investing, entrepreneurship, and social media. Originally from Louisiana, you started from nothing and now have 5 privately held companies with annual revenues exceeding $100 million. Last year, Forbes magazine named you #1 of the 25 marketing influencers to watch, and you're the author of 5 books, including Sell or Be Sold, The 10X Rule, and If You're Not First, You're Last. Grant, welcome to London Real.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's awesome to have you here.
It's great to be in this room, man.
Hey, thank you very much. How is London treating you? What do you think of this city?
Well, London's treating us as well as we treat it, except for the casino, which I lost 500 pounds pretty quick. But it's been great, man. We've been to Harrods and staying down in a nice little spot. So the hotel's nice. The people are great. Haven't seen Harry yet, but I've been trying to find him on the streets.
Yeah, I heard you're pointing him out at Buckingham Palace.
And people went for it every time.
They did?
Oh, yeah. I just started screaming out of my car, Harry, there's Harry sighting. Right? My driver just lost it.
And he's getting married this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you're stirring it up a little bit. Your girls were on Tower Bridge,
yeah,
right?
Tower Bridge.
So
I called it London Bridge, but it was Tower Bridge. I don't know where I am most of the time, so.
Yeah, I think when they sold the old London Bridge to the Americans in Arizona, they thought it was the Tower Bridge.
Okay.
That's the pretty one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're liking it here?
We're loving it. Well, I mean, the weather's been spectacular, so it's been great. People are phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah.
Friendly?
Yeah, maybe we're friendly.
Okay.
You know, and then they respond in kind.
When you think of London when you're in Miami, like, what do you usually think about? British, European? Is it a different mentality than the Americans?
Yeah, I think conservative, polite, manners, proper, all the things that I'm basically not. You know, that I even wonder, wow, will I fit in there? You know, will they accept who I am? And but I've had the same problem where I live, like those things, those social, expectations of, not that I don't have manners, but the social norms, like fitting into something. My whole life I've struggled with fitting in. And so, living there and coming here, this is just like manners on steroids here, proper on steroids, right? Like, you have to be proper, right? A gentleman.
And were you always that way? Just open book when it comes to your feelings and telling people what you thought?
I mean, look, my dad died when I was 10, so when you don't have a father, a male image there to drop the belt, because my dad was an enforcer. And I think it changes things. My mom, I remember after my dad died, my mom whipped me. She brought out the belt, and it was a joke. It was like, this is hilarious. Like, I'll never be whipped again, right? So, I was without direction, and I missed that guy directing me and being that mentor and that strong, and then I had my mom just scared and trying to figure things out. So you got a 10-year-old kid, man, a twin brother. So I had a force. We were a unit. We're bored. School didn't help because we're bored.
And you were born in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Yeah, little small town, yeah.
What is that like for people that have never been to Louisiana, that don't know what it's like down there? How would you explain it to Prince Harry? What's the culture like? What are the people like?
I'd say, Harry, dude, like I took a little canoe down the bayous, to go to school, and he took a carriage. So no, it's a little small town. You know, it's hot, it's humid, mosquitoes, roaches. Like I grew up low, you know, middle class. I mean, we had a roof and we had air conditioning, we had heater, and we had a car and we had bicycles, but we had fear. There was tremendous fear in the environment, constant fear, worry about. And this wasn't for a cycle. This was for, you know, from the age of 10 to like when I left the house.
Okay.
Constant fear the whole time.
Fear of
economics.
Economic fear.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was all economics. The mechanic's going to take advantage of us. The plumber's going to take advantage of us. The roofer, like anything, you didn't want to spend money. Everything was conservation. It really has built who I am today.
Okay.
Because you know, my dad died in February. My mom sold the house by March. So we had this beautiful house. My dad had finally made it fully into the middle class, maybe even upper middle class. 18 months after he bought his house, his dream house, he died. 15 days later, the house is sold because she couldn't handle it. So at 10 years old, I'm learning a house is a liability. I didn't know this would play out later, right?
Yeah.
But later on in my life, I would realize it would be another 20 years, and I'd realize, oh, a single family home, the front door, just one door house, is not an asset, it's a liability.
Okay. I want to talk on that,
Yeah,
definitely. Is that money, fear, economic kind of prison in your brains, is that endemic to Louisiana, the South, America?
All of America.
Okay. Living on the edge, paycheck to paycheck.
America, you know, the movies act like all the Americans are rich and they're all boisterous and they're all secure. Completely not true. Any more than all English people have manners. So the Americans 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 64% of Americans that have businesses break even or lose money. The land of the brave and the home of the free, that's our American anthem. It's not even close to the truth. Most people don't have any money and have accepted the fact that they don't have any money. They don't have any leftover money. They're fearful of money constantly. They overspend. They don't know how to produce money. They definitely don't know how to multiply it. Might be a world condition, because you know what everybody's been telling me here is like, dude, I said, what country am I describing? Right here.
Yeah. Do you think the American kind of brashness comes from that underlying fear?
No, I think that comes from the movies. Most Americans are not brash.
Okay.
You know, I would be my persona, which is like who I've just figured out how to get away with it. Most Americans are not brash by any means.
Okay. So even you're an outlier in Miami.
Oh, no, without a doubt.
Okay. Tell me more about young Grant. So you're 10.
Yeah.
You know, your dad had just made it. I think at 9 he had bought the house, right?
Yeah,
and then
that's
you
right.
died at 10.
Yeah.
You had a twin brother who, I mean, I know you said you've always kind of, he was a way for you to look at yourself.
Uh-huh.
And you were like, wow, I see so much potential in him. And so it's a way that you kind of got to look at yourself.
Yeah.
And tell me about that young kid.
You know, just again, like my mom had her hands full. You know, she didn't talk about money being a problem, but I could see that she was scared. She's clipping coupons. It's the culture, right? You're being boiled, you're being made ready in a soup. The culture is the soup, and you're being cooked in the soup, and that's where we're collecting our data from. And so the information was, you know, save your money. A penny saved is, you know, penny earned, and everything's preservation and conservation and you know, protection and conservation, and
which is
like,
BS because it's passive.
Well, totally. You're just becoming a victim. You're becoming you're sitting back. You're effect of everything. So there was, but my mama she didn't know any better, right? She was uneducated. She had never held a job. She did not have an entrepreneurial spirit. Like she didn't know at that time women really weren't encouraged to go out and earn money. So mothers were doing at that time in the 50s what they did. They were raising kids and being a wife, right, and taking care of the house, which, by the way, is an extremely important role and probably something that we're short on.
Yeah, yeah.
But she was giving me 3 meals a day, and with every meal came a lecture, you know. So she was just doing the best she could do. I, on the other hand, at 10 years old, wanted to be a man. 12, I wanted to be an adult. I wanted to be an adult since I was 6. When I saw that whoever had the money decided where we went, I wanted money. I didn't want money because of money. I wanted money because it appeared to me that whoever had the money had control of the environment. And I knew that way before my dad died. I would watch him and another man, a doctor in the neighborhood, and they seemed to have fun. Whoever had the money seemed to like control where we went, how long we went, what we did. And the kid, if you have kids, how many do you have?
I got 2 young boys and then a stepdaughter in her teens.
Yeah, they're picking up everything.
Oh yeah, it's like a hard drive that just opens when they are born.
You know, exactly. You know, and they're open to learning. And you know, I can watch my kids. They'll play on a phone. They could watch a TV show and know exactly what what Elaine and I are talking about in the other room, and collect all the data perfectly. But when you take an adult and put them in that setting, and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute, I can't. I got to pay attention to this." But the kid doesn't do that. The kid's like, "I can consume here. I can consume off the game, and I can pick up your conversation and duplicate almost all of it perfectly."
Okay. And so what? As adults?
And I was doing the same thing.
Okay. All right.
I'm picking up everything from my brother, my older brother, my twin brother, my mom, TV, John Kennedy gets killed. I'm picking up data everywhere. My dad dies. I'm picking up all the data, right? And that's what makes, that's what like starts forming the character of the individual. My dad wanted to be rich. He never said that to me, but later I would find out my dad wanted to be a wealthy man. And he didn't get there. He fulfilled his personal obligation as a man to take care of his family and his wife and his kids and be a good example to his parents. He didn't get the freedom part, you know, which he really wanted. And I think some of that might have been left in the environment for me to grab.
Is that why you're doing what you're doing now?
I don't think that's why I'm doing it, but certainly that was it was an inspiration.
Okay. To kind of get there where he wanted to go.
Maybe. You know, my brother's got it.
Okay.
In a different way, though. My brother and I do money completely different. He's much more free willy with it, and I'm much more, okay, I'm gonna turn this into something and not take as many risks. But I had 2 sisters and an older brother in the environment. My older brother died when he was very young. My 2 older sisters, they didn't get it as much in the same environment. So you can't just say it's an environmental thing.
Talk to me about the teenage Grant.
Yeah.
You're doing lemonade stands and paper
No,
routes?
I'm doing drugs is what I'm doing. 16 years old, I smoked weed for the first time. Louisiana, you're not doing lemonade stands, man. It's a great conversation. Selling baseball cards and selling flowers, but that's not what we were doing. We were in Louisiana. We're shooting guns. Anything that moves, we shoot it. You know, I have a rifle, 22 caliber rifle at 12 years old. We're wild, man.
Okay.
Wild kids. We're having mud wars in the lake and kumquat battles with the neighbors and smashing eggplants in the cars. Like, we're bored. Like, we have the worst problem in society, boredom.
Still a problem there.
Today? Oh, for everybody, not just me.
Okay.
This is my projection on all of mankind, but
yeah.
When people are bored, they become problematic.
Okay, and you times 10.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely.
Okay. And so we smoked some weed at 16.
Yeah.
And that's the start of a road.
Yeah.
And why do you think that was so attractive to you?
It was not attractive.
Okay.
No, it was. I knew when I picked it up, I'm like, this is terrible, doing this. I don't know why I'm doing this. I know I'm going to regret doing this. But, you know, my brother was doing it. Brian, my buddy, was doing it. I wanted in. Peer pressure was very powerful. You know, how do you go it alone here? So smoked weed. Next day I smoked it again. Next thing you know, I'm like full into drugs. And nobody starts using drugs thinking I'm gonna be a drug addict. But within probably 2 years, I was doing drugs every day.
Okay, not just weed, other stuff.
Anything.
Okay. This is before the whole pill crisis down south, so it wasn't necessarily that.
No. This was way before the opiate.
Right.
No.
Because that would have been really dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was dangerous enough.
Okay.
So
why for you?
Because I mean, I became a full-fledged like drug addict.
Okay.
And I'm smoking, popping pills, any drug. There was no like everybody. What's your drug of choice? Like any drug.
Alcohol.
Cocaine, anything
pills.
that would change my attitude, or fill up the boredom.
Is it boredom, or just maybe the negativity and fear and uncertainty of the area or of your life? Or?
Like, yeah, sure, all that, you know, like, you know, the rehab I went to said that you have a disease, you know. I don't know, I don't believe that today, that some people have a disease. There's no test for the disease anyway. Like, there's diseases now for everything that they have no test for. So I don't think it's a disease, or I was somehow picked to be a drug addict, or I have some DNA to be an entrepreneur. Or me and Gary Vee had this conversation. He thinks entrepreneurs have some DNA. I said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That means some people can't be entrepreneurs.
Which is not true. No,
you do drugs enough, it won't matter what your DNA is. You do anything enough. You go into a casino enough times and play enough times, you'll become addicted. Just like a game. Like, you play a game enough times, enough levels of Candy Crush, and you'll want to get to the next level. So, and that's what happened with drugs. It was 15 years old to 25 for 10 years, some 9.5 years. I used drugs almost every day.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it was terrible, man. It was terrible. The drugs are one thing, but the degradedness of the individual.
It chips away at your self-esteem little by little by little, right?
And then by chunks, and then by big blocks. So by the time I'm 19, I was as close to zero as a person can get. And I'll go lower than that before it's over.
Okay. And yeah, you said that you thought your low was much higher than it really was.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You thought your rock bottom
was higher. There's a lot of rock bottoms.
Okay.
You know.
If I had met Grant then, like, what would he be like? No eye contact, just real, not even there?
I weigh 170 pounds today. I weighed 130 pounds then. Gray, very gray. My nose is damaged from the inside. You know, like, it was ugly, dude.
It was bad. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're 20, your older brother dies.
Yeah, when I was 20, I mean, you did the research.
Well, you know, I like to know what's going on. So,
yeah,
and that doesn't help anything, right?
Well, my dad died when I was 10.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm thinking, man, life is short here. My brother dies 10 years later. I talked to him the night before. On a Sunday night, I talked to him. Monday morning, he was dead. So that gets reinforced, you know. And John Kennedy died in between. No, he died before my dad. So all these messages, you're getting punched. Like, even John Kennedy's death, right?
It's a big deal, right? I don't think people understand.
I was 5 years old, man. I'm 5 years old. I'm in a house. I don't even know what I'm watching. I just know that there's grief in my house, on TV. Like, there was grief in the entire nation, probably in the whole world. You feel this event happening, you know? And there are these events that happen that shift people's, that are so powerful and so big, and I'm starting to have these, and they're being re-stimulated as time goes on, right? They're mounting on top of one another, and they're punching in a message, which by the way, there's some goodness that comes out of that, because
the time is now.
Yeah, exactly. Time is now. Be in a hurry, and also, dude, if you punch on anything long enough, you could actually change things. Like, my life is about punching. I'm a puncher. Like, I punch a lot. I punch hard, but mostly I punch persistently, kind of like life did to me. Like, I've learned to punch back.
So, like, banging your head against the wall until the wall breaks.
Yeah, the wall breaks. The wall will break.
Yeah, like, your head will get bloody.
Yeah, the woman I'm married to, she just broke. She's just finally like, okay, maybe you're a good dude.
13 months later.
Yeah.
She said yes. So just back to that piece. So, and then the downside of having all that death reminder in your life is that maybe I just want to take this pain away and get into the drugs. Get away from the world.
I don't think it was pain driven. Like, oh, you know, that's what they told, you know, oh, you lost your dad abandoned you. You know, I've had all the therapy around all that. I think those guys are just a little bit off from I did not have to go down that path to find who I am. That guy was always there. You know, the guy I am today was always there. You could not kill him with drugs. And you know, now coming out of the treatment center, they tried to get rid of that guy. That guy is the guy, you know, the obsessed guy, the you know, the guy that can throw himself all into something, the drug addict.
Yeah.
Do you want that guy?
You want that guy because that's the guy that makes things happen.
That guy is relentless.
Right.
You want that. You want that.
But rehab wants to get rid of that guy. They want to keep you in fear a little bit.
They think that guy's the problem. That guy's not the problem. The drugs were the problem.
Okay.
Okay. The lack of self-esteem was the problem. The boredom was the problem, dude. I'll talk about boredom. Like, boredom is the drug you need to avoid. Because that's where people start making bad choices. Typically, they don't become a drug addict. They become a consumer of garbage.
Right.
They waste time. They consume excuses. You know, so that happened here. I see that here a lot.
Okay, in this city?
Yeah, in this country.
Oh, in this country, okay.
Yeah.
What was the rock bottom that got you into that rehab?
My mom, it wasn't the drugs. It wasn't, I was beat up. I had 70 stitches put in my head and face with a guy pistol whipped me.
Why was that happening? You talked about that incident before. Blood
Because
all over the room.
I told another dude, this guy said something to me and I said something to him and he sent a boy, you know, to teach me a lesson. So,
Louisiana style.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, with a gun and
Yeah, because
you still got scars from that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally. Here above both of my eyes, underneath the eyes, over my mouth, and you know, they wanted to disfigure me. Just imagine how handsome I would have been just without that.
Did that event help you?
No.
No.
That just beat up the self-esteem even more.
Okay.
It degraded me another level because now like you can't even stand up for yourself, dude. You won't even fight back, which I did, but that just, you know, the guy was a lot bigger than me. So now I'm in a space where there's criminals and gangsters and real physical harm. I don't know how to get out of this space, and I don't know how to play by those rules because I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that will beat up somebody. You know, I'll do what I can to protect myself, but I won't play that level. So now I'm in a terrible place because I can't win in this space. So I'm 23. I'm in the hospital. I'm gonna quit drugs now. I was doing drugs before the day was over. I couldn't stop, man.
Yeah.
So 2 years would go by. I continued my behavior. You would think this would be the one, right? And my mom, you know, my mom had this little business going on. She was trying to run this little business, and I walked in. I was all sloppy, loaded, and she's like, "I'm done. Don't come here anymore. You're not welcomed here anymore. This might be the last time we see each other." And I was in a treatment center 30 days later. Yeah.
The most powerful things, relationships, right?
Yeah, man.
Get you to
Tough
do
love, man.
something,
My mom
yeah.
said, "Hey, I'm done."
That was it. She had enough
She
of your
meant it, too.
nonsense. Okay, and you
Yeah.
knew she meant it. So
Look, I was disgusted. I needed something. I
Yeah.
needed one more thing to just like, okay, one way or the other. I was dying. I'd been dying for 9 years. My mom just turned her eye to it. She didn't want to confront it. If you're the mother of a drug addict, you know. You know before he knows. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing this whole Ironman race, and I came open about my own heroin overdose in 01. So I know what you're talking about, you know, and
Yeah.
everyone knows it around you.
Yeah.
And the only thing that made me hit rock bottom was that everyone abandoned me. And I went and saw a bunch of them in New York recently, first time in 16 years, and I'm like, thank you. Because if you hadn't have told me, they basically say, fuck you, by getting out of your life. And it shows you that it's no longer acceptable. And that's the only thing that would make me do
when
it.
your drug dealer tells you have a problem, you know?
Yeah, well, that's a problem too. But like, you know, waking up in a hospital almost dead doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Something else is a trigger. And so rehab did teach you some things.
And dude, I wanted to recover. It's not like I didn't want to do it. I had tried to quit. You know the deal. At least 10 times a day. I quit drugs for 9 years. Today, I'm going to quit. 5 minutes later, I'm using. And then I'd say, okay, I'm going to quit. That's it. I'm done. I'm not going to throw it away yet, but I'm done. And then an hour and a half later, dude, I'm doing drugs again. So every day, it's not just the drugs. It's not just what you're doing to your body. It's like the number of times I quit and couldn't quit, right? And then started again. Like, you know, it's just like you start like losing any sense of self-respect.
And so how do you get that back? You go to rehab.
I go to rehab.
And they teach you about maybe how to mentally to deal with staying away from the drugs. But
not really, man.
Okay.
I wonder if the treatment centers aren't just, you know, just adding to the problem.
How so?
Well, I mean, I know the intention's good, but most of them today are producing a different kind of drug addict. You know, they're going. I'm going in on some, you know, one drug and coming out on phenobarbital. I mean, they gave me drugs while I was there.
Okay.
They said, don't not take these. You need this drug. You are a drug addict. You will never recover. It is a disease. You have it. You cannot recover from it no matter what. Give up all your ideas. You know the whole inventory thing. You do the inventory and
you told them, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, he's like, man, give up. He's like, you'll never make it. He's like, your chance of making it. I said, oh, really? Why am I going to fail? He's like, and I had 28 days now. I'm like, shit, dude, I just quit using drugs for 28 days. It's really all I needed. Right? I needed to know I could go some period of time without using drugs. So he...
and that was it? No relapse after that?
There's never been a relapse.
That's crazy.
So he said, if you hold on to these ideas of the books and being famous and getting rich and all the stuff that I told him was underneath all this that I'd been covering up, right? You'll never make it. Be satisfied. I can't, you know, it's the echo in my mind of him saying, be satisfied with one thing. Don't use drugs one day at a time. If that's all you get out of life, I'm like, fuck this, dude. That will not be what I'm known for.
Yeah.
And I went to meetings after that and I kept hearing that. But I kept hearing it from people that didn't recover more than just the drug addiction or the alcoholism. The rest of their life never recovered.
Because they're playing kind of small and safe and scared. Because every day
they're playing with a just. Okay. Just be sober. Just don't use.
Right.
And I don't think I was made to just anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been to an AA meeting, and I know they do a lot of great things for people, but it always seems in a weird way that you're kind of getting up there and saying, I'm always this addict, I have this disease, and I'm just a win today because I got up here and didn't drink.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, wait a second.
Yeah,
a win today would be if you went and fucking crushed it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but then they want to hold you back because they think that's addiction manifested or that's going to bring you back.
Yeah, dude. I was even told, well, you know, because I came back and I started working. I just threw my addiction into work. I needed something to throw into, right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I have to stay busy. Time is my enemy. Time is my problem. When there's too much time, Grant goes freaking nuts. And yeah, you're OCD and you're ADD and you're ADDHD and you're ADHD and I'm like, yeah, where's the test on this shit? Like, I can measure certain things. The stuff you guys are talking about, I know how tall I am. All this other stuff you guys are talking sounds like it's made up to me.
Subjective.
It's bullshit.
It's also inconclusive. So if you are, so what?
Yeah.
You still need a plan.
Like, how about we take some blind tests and see how many different people, like the book's about that thick, okay? Who does it benefit to label me?
Drug companies.
Totally. Like who's on the other end of this? Remember, I came out of that treatment center with a bottle of pills that they told me I would be on for the rest of my life. I was on them for a day, threw them away. Now I'm really getting sober because now I don't have any of this in me. Now I get to start making my own decisions, right? So I threw myself completely into my work. I had a job that I hated, threw myself into it completely. Now my sponsor, who I had a sponsor, that was good. That was very helpful and very limiting. Right, your mentor can help you and limit you.
They hold you on the leash and that. Be careful.
Like, who's your mentor? Everybody's got one, by the way. Most people have too many. It's not like everybody's got one or many, and so mentors can be a problem as much as a lift.
Okay.
And so he says, "You've just replaced one addiction for another one." I'm like, well, "Fucking, does that make you a genius?" Like, of course I have, dude. I got to replace this free time with something. I was using drugs 10 hours a day. I have to replace it with some energy, right? I don't want to just go into a void. Well, he was doing 3 meetings a day. And I'm like, I can't do 3 meetings. Dude, I need to be a productive member of society. I have potential.
Had you been productive before?
Yeah, I remember being productive when you asked that question with my dad. I remember being productive with my dad. I was 9 years old. My dad taught me how to work. He never talked about work, but the way he went to work. And then we were in the yard one day and we were stuffing, we were picking up leaves and branches and pecans. And I would watch my dad. He was like, to me, as a 9-year-old, he looked like an artist. He was coordinated. I wasn't. He was fast. I was slow. He was clean, I was sloppy, right? It's like watching a great cook in the kitchen. It's like, you know, it's just fluid. She doesn't read, she doesn't have to check, she doesn't slow down. Everything's kept pretty clean. And then there's me, and they're just, it'll taste similar, but there's gonna be a fucking mess in this place.
So he inspired you to that work ethic.
I could see that there was potential, right?
And a beauty in it somehow.
And there was beauty in work. I've always loved work, whether it was outside or inside or...
Not just because it keeps you busy, because there's some beauty in it, there's a mastery in it.
I think that their work is a gift from God.
Speak on that.
Yeah,
because most people think it's a chore.
Yeah, when I hear people talk about the job, I've seen the 4-hour work week and the you know, the idea that you won't work for anyone, that you can't have a job. It just kills me.
You don't like the 4-hour work week concept because it tries
disgusting.
to engineer you out of doing something.
It's disgusting to me.
Explain.
It is like, it's disgusting that anybody would want to outsource everything. Dude, I got 168 hours in a week. I think that's what it is. I don't know exactly what the number is, but dude, I want to use them all, man.
And you want to get your hands dirty and do things that don't scale and
totally. I want
do things you don't want to do.
Absolutely, I want to do things I don't want to do. I hear guys say, "I don't do stuff I don't want to do." Fucking do. Who are you? Like, who's taking care of you then? How arrogant that you wouldn't do something you don't want to do.
And nobody successful does things they only do.
Well, I do shit I want to do. I don't want to do every day. We drove over here 45 minutes. I don't want to fucking sit in the back of the car. I don't care how nice the car is. Who wants to sit in traffic for 45 minutes? I do stuff constantly I don't want to do. It doesn't matter what I want to do. You know, what's my purpose? What's my potential? And am I willing to work toward that? So an idea that I would work 4 hours, no, well, that's just not real for me. Like, I would not read the book. If you told me, hey man, I got this opportunity for you to work part-time, I have zero interest. I want to be great at what I'm doing. And I know without reading any book, I have to dedicate time and energy, effort, and I have to hit. I have to be frequent. You know, I've never gotten good at anything. It's been a lot of work for me. So everything for me, whether I'm that little uncoordinated kid, it's taken a lot. You know, it's taken me 30 years to find any kind of success or any sense of, okay, I'm starting to find myself. You know, probably 2,000 or 3,000 speaking engagements before I felt like I was comfortable on stage. 3 businesses that were freaking jamming before I said, you know, you might actually be a legitimate businessman. You know, now we're at 7 businesses. We'll do probably 150 million bucks this year. I'll hit $1 billion in real estate probably before the year's over. I'm just starting to feel like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to make it. You know,
by going into all the things you felt insecure at, the things you were not good at, the things you didn't even like to do.
Dude,
that's been your modus operandi for the last 30 years.
Totally. So like sales, you know, hated sales.
People would be shocked to hear you say that.
Hated it. I was in 5 sales jobs, was a disaster at all of them. Hated, absolutely hated it.
But you're the master of sales.
I am. I embrace the things I hate.
Why were you bad at it? Why did you hate it?
I didn't know, well, I was bad at it because nobody teaches anybody how to be good at sales. You know, so I didn't know how to communicate to people, didn't know how to shake a hand, didn't know how to build rapport. I'm honest enough that I'm not going to lie to people. So the stuff I was being taught to do, I didn't like. You know, they ask a question, you ask them a question. Slimy, dude. You know, I have enough integrity and ethics that when you tell me, okay, we're not manipulating, but don't answer their question. I'm like, well, dude, that's just, that is manipulation. And that's why I think a lot of people don't like sales, because of what's been taught for 100 years.
So the blueprint's outdated. You got there and you're like,
it was always wrong.
Okay.
It was wrong, and it's why, I believe it's why salespeople have such a high turnover, why so few people want to be called salespeople. I mean, you go through Harrods down there, you can't find a salesperson in the whole joint.
You think salespeople are ostracized in America?
Oh, dude, it's terrible
here.
It's terrible here.
I mean, really.
We've had books where Sell or Be Sold, we had to change some of the language in the book for it to be in bookshelves here. So like the word pressure can't be in there, persistence can't be in there. Like there's things laws you guys actually have here that like.
Go to Europe, it gets one step worse. You know, because it's this whole I'm ashamed of money and I don't want to talk, you know, we can talk about that too. But so the sales blueprint, you get in, they give it to you, it's not working for you, it doesn't make sense for you. And you're like, I gotta make my own.
Well, what happened was I was in a sales job. I got a college degree in accounting, and
because you thought it would teach you about money and it didn't.
Yeah, so I end up in this sales job. It's the only job I could get. And so I hate it, right? So I go to the treatment center. I come back out of the treatment center. I threw myself into it because it's the only thing I had. I still had so little self-esteem that there was no way I was going to go try to get another job.
Yeah.
Right? And I was terrified of using drugs again. So I'm like, I went back. The place where I was working, they took me back, and I threw myself into it. And it's interesting when you commit to something, little gifts just start automatically showing up. It's a phenomenal thing. It's happened my whole career. When I fully commit, somebody will bring me something. And
there's resistance along the way and problems along the way, but if you get through those things.
Dude, if you just like super commit, okay, and then look, then keep your eyes open. And by the way, the package may come wrapped in a package you weren't thinking about.
Hard work.
Or like a voice, or like a person, or you know, maybe from a different direction than you thought, or an offering where you're like, you read something about this and that's not the thing. Like all throughout my career, it's come in weird kind of ways. And so, like if you ask for help and somebody shows up at the door, maybe invite them in. Okay. Regardless of what the packaging is or what you've heard about it or whatever. That's really been beneficial to me.
Okay, open mind. Keep your ears open.
But not too open.
Okay, because you don't want everybody's advice or you'll be mediocre again.
You'll be
lose your individuality.
Yeah, you won't even know what to do. If you listen to me and Dave Ramsey, you won't know whether to get debt or avoid it. Okay. And you won't do anything, but you'll be very knowledgeable.
Right. And,
so I threw a guy walks up, he gives me it was a little cassette tape. He's like, hey, I heard this, I thought you might like it. I listened to it, I was like, oh my God, there's a way to sell stuff. I didn't know there was actually something you could do. I listened to it, I called the 800 number. I said, what else do you have? And the guy said, we got a program for $3,000. This is 25 years ago, so it's like 10 grand, right? So I said, I'll call you back. Called my mom, I said, I need to borrow $3 grand. First money I ever borrowed outside of college. She gave me the $3 grand, and it changed my career.
Wow.
And then when I listened to this guy, and then I got this set of tapes and I'd watch it on sales and how to be a salesman, how to negotiate. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna end up doing for a living. I'm gonna teach people how to do this. Because there was such a vacancy and a void of it years ago. But what happened was, what I didn't like was some of the trickery in it. What I did was went in over the years and removed the trickery and basically made transparency and the authenticity in sales the way to service people. And now that's become a multi-$100-million business for me.
But it's still a dirty word for a lot of people. Will that change over time?
It might. The whole space might disappear first, actually, because of the internet.
Really? Because everything will be custom and tailored and...
Everything's just order it.
Really?
You know, order online.
Sales can't die.
Well,
don't human opinions always need to be changed and challenged?
I don't think it dies. Like, you know, the strategy of negotiating with people. Like I do big deals today. Like, you know, I used to think a $20,000 deal was a big deal, but no, I'm working on $200 million deals today. So those deals are probably not going to be done over the internet. They're complicated. They require personalities and people, and anytime you involve people, then you have insecurities, and people have superiors to please, and then you got egos on the line, and it's the same thing at every level.
Which is good, though. That's an opportunity for you.
That's an opportunity.
Okay, but you're saying...
So at that level, like if you're going to negotiate your own deal, LeBron negotiates his own deals. You better know how to sell. Or you better just walk away. The ultimate is just walk away. Somebody else will offer you something else. But most people don't have that kind of marketability, right? So it's the everyday guy. I think some of the sales that will go away are the retail stores, like that kind of selling.
Okay. Gotcha. Where it used to just be the human touch point. Okay.
I think it's going to depend now on a click.
Okay.
You're still going to touch somebody and they're going to convince you this is the thing to buy or whatever, but some of that's going to go away, but you're still going to, the most important things in your life, you're still going to want to negotiate, find the right person, negotiate, like your job, you know, or opportunity. I got guys that work for me that are 33 years old, make $1 million a year. They negotiated the right deal for them, found the right guy. Negotiating isn't always about buying this piece of furniture, right? They negotiated with themselves as well as the marketplace.
And found a deal that made everybody win.